Good Friday, everybody. Welcome to Cannabusiness Live. My name is Matthew Roman. I'm alongside Craig Aronoff. I'm the host of the show. Just so you know, today is episode 4. Please, while you're watching, like, love it, share it. We really invite comments. We really want to make this an interactive process. So if there's something that comes up in regards to the topic that we're dealing with today, please post a comment, post a question. We'd love to answer it for you. Just so you know, this is a weekly podcast. We're coming to you live every Wednesday and Friday. Our next show will be next Wednesday. That'll be discussing raising capital for your cannabis businesses. And today, we'll actually be discussing business planning.
Business planning. And actually, it's ironic because we're sitting here at the beautiful campus of Michigan State University for a marijuana law section from the Michigan State Bar seminar. And we're talking business here at the Broad Center. So business planning. And, you know, as we talk to clients often, one of the first things they ask us, of course, is what is a business plan?
So, and what is a business plan? It's a great way to start. It's basically a document or a plan where you can take to investors, have it for internal use, that basically outlines the business as a whole. It will go through things such as budgeting, personnel. It basically gives a roadmap for the success of your cannabis business or business in general. People like this because it gives them the sense of taking it from a theoretical concept to actually putting it into play, making abstract ideas into concrete ones, in which saying, okay, we want to be a marijuana grow. How much money do we need? Who are we going to employ? Where are we going to find these employees? How are we going to market our business? It's basically a roadmap to ensure that your business is on track to success.
Yeah, absolutely. And really what you're doing is you're taking the time to look at all the details of your business. So as you get started, and, you have the concept of what license or where you want to be in this new industry, whether you're going to be dispensing or growing or processing. Ultimately, you got to have break it down and start to look at, well, how much are my lights going to cost? What's the electric going to cost to refurbish the building that we're purchasing? How much was the building? We've already talked in past episodes about real estate and how important it is to find the right real estate in the right place that's both suitable from your use as well as the local community. And then we've also talked about knowing your partners. Well, where are we putting that information? We're actually putting it into this business plan so that somebody else can pick it up and see where you're planning to be and what you're planning to do while you're there.
And I think one thing that's really overlooked, at least when we've seen plans in the office when people come in, is especially the financial part. We see a lot of business plans that when they come in, equipment is at $800,000 per se. People are making estimates as to what lights will cost. When your business plan is to point for a venture such as this, it needs to be really concrete and succinct. It needs to know that your lights are going to run you $231,000 and $300. And I think that's really important because if you take care of that, the big stuff right out the gate, you'll have a more accurate picture of what the business is going to actually cost and ensure your success. And one of the biggest things that we've seen in regards to business plans as well is they seem, at least in my experience, really incomplete.
Yeah.
Maybe they have the financials down, but they don't have the executive summary of the management team, or vice versa. And there's so many important things to make sure that your business plan is complete and to ensure that, say you're pitching it to investors, to the state for an application, that it truly covers everything so that your business is presented in the best possible fashion.
Yeah, and there's a few different reasons why you'll be putting this together, whether it's you're at the beginning of the process and you're trying to realize exactly how much money you're going to need in order to operate properly and be successful. But then there's also the licensing process, which we know from the statute is already going to require us to put together the information so that when the state reviews who's on the team in terms of partnerships and what all their best business practices are and what your plans are so that you can show them from point A to point Z exactly how you plan to get from the beginning to the end, because the state is going to be really concerned with, through the licensing process, we presume, how you're going to operate over a period of time when you can't actually make money because it's just not available to be made yet.
And to further elaborate in regards to the application process, people are going to be seeking these licenses. And a big differentiating factor that we think for applicants will be, one of the key points at least, will be whether their business plan is well thought through. So if you're not willing to take the time, put the effort in, and make a solid plan to present, we really feel that could possibly cause some problems for your applications, or say that a municipality has capped the number of licenses, and there's 3 licenses available, but 4 applicants. And 3 of those applicants have really taken the time to put the proper financials, the time in to ensure the success of their business. Somebody maybe hasn't done that, or they haven't conveyed that in the business plan. Maybe they have, but they actually haven't put it in a plan. That could really kind of stifle their efforts of actually acquiring that license.
There's no question that it could either fully derail it or minimally delay it from actually getting from the point where your application's in the queue and you're up to bat and it's your turn to show them you're ready to get going and get approved for that license, to suddenly being delayed and possibly thrown to the back of the line again. We don't know exactly through how Laura is going to work those, process to kind of round off the edges of an application and make sure it's correct. But we know from past practices of Lara's how they operate on other licensing procedures. Not having the package done the first time with all the details and as complete as possible is certainly something that is going to delay the process in order of that approval. And given the amount of time, money, effort, and energy that people are putting into this industry, I think by the time you get to the point where the state says, let's see applications, the last thing you want to do is get derailed over a minor detail that you should have considered up front.
So real quick, let's mention some of the key facets of a good business plan. Number one, I'd say your financials, your financial projections, what it's going to take to start the business, as well as maybe your cash flow, your projected cash flow, etc. It's really the nuts and bolts of the business from the financial end, and that's really important so that you can have basically control and see the health of the business as it progresses. I know that in year 2 we're going to do $3 million. I know that my cost to operate is $2 million. I'll show a profit of $1 million, let's say, or something like that. Another real important plan of a business plan, at least for an investor standpoint, is the cap table, showing down the equity breakdowns. Hey, if you're going to give me $2 million, what are you getting basically in return for that money? Additionally, a real important component is the marketing plan. You can have a Rolls Royce, but if you don't have any gas in it, you can't get out of the garage. So a lot of people will build these beautiful businesses, but not have the proper marketing plan to really implement them and make sure they're success. So that's a key component of any business plan, as well as the executive summary, especially for investors. If people are going to give you money, who's running it? Who are they putting their money with? It's better to have a B idea with A management than an A idea with B management. So it's really important to basically have a full encompassing business plan. So when it gets in somebody's hands that either you're pitching or the state, they know that you're serious and they know that you can be successful.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And if we were to break down even into smaller segments, each of those items that you were just discussing, certainly you kind of threw executive summary as we got towards the end of that description of it. And really that's at the top of the table. That tells somebody in short form as a 1-minute elevator speech, this is what my business is going to be and what I intend to do to be profitable and make money at it. Now that could be used to raise capital and bring in investors, or that could be used for the licensing itself because you're telling the state up front what they're going to see from the rest of the plan. Now importantly, as we go through and we start looking at the specifics of the plan, and we already talked last Wednesday about partners and knowing your partners, you're going to be spelling out for the state everybody's role. You're going to be laying out in this plan how everybody's function is, whether if they're investors, what their role will be and what their cap raises and cap calls might be, so that if you do need money, it's maybe built into the thought process as you're going through at each phase, be it from purchasing the real estate or maybe setting up the equipment or even going further through the license application process. So it's important that, again, the details and the attention to details is where we're seeing a lot of clients that come in that I think are going to be faltering later on unless they really get a grip of these smaller items so that they fully appreciate what that means to their enterprise.
One of the questions, too, that I've been asked, and I'm sure you have, is what really, can someone do to ensure a successful business plan? My biggest advice to clients and people that I interact with is just the proper research. Yeah. If you don't go out there and you don't understand the market, you don't understand where you're going to get your equipment, you don't understand where you're going to staff the entity, all these facets, then you really can't make an accurate plan. And that will come very through to people that you're showing the plan that you don't know what you're talking about. So for us, and we advise our clients, is to really go out there and do the homework, do the research. A lot of people will say, what type of lights do I want to use? Don't call one store, call 5, find the best price. Really get out there, and if you do the legwork, that can ensure a successful and a well-written plan. Additionally, another thing that we are often asked is how much to show in the business plan. You want the business plan to be a complete picture. But in doing so, a lot of people are very timid in really showing their whole plan. So it's
Right.
important that if you are sharing your business plan, you may want people to sign a non-disclosure agreement so they can't take your idea, replicate it, and go somewhere else. You've put a lot of hard work and time. You've been doing this research. This could be months or even years of process, of research, experience going into this, and you wouldn't want somebody just to be able to take that profit off it and not, basically put anything in your pocket.
Yeah, certainly. You want to protect yourself, and at the same time, you want to be sure you get proper consultation. Certainly, that's what we at the Cannabis Legal Group will be doing with our clients, and we hope that if you're interested in the industry, you'll be contacting us for that, so we can help you either develop the plan and/or look at it for a review time. Similarly, though, one of the things you mentioned earlier too about community level, your package might be the thing that separates you from the other applicants, and therefore you might get what is a limited license in the community you want to be. In there you could spell out the amount of jobs that you're going to be offering at different levels of the industry and different purposes within your company, and of course how much money is going to be spent on those jobs. You don't want to go in there telling them, oh, they're all $10 an hour jobs. And the reality is that, you're going to have some talent that requires better than $10 an hour job in order to retain them and actually make them productive for you. And so you don't want to underestimate your money on your labor, for instance, as you go through it. And one of the important facets, as we mentioned, I think, in the past as well, the thing that the state is going to be very interested in through this business plan as well is, are you going to be able to fund your company, build out your space, if you're a growing facility, for instance, get your seeds planted or clones started, and then get all the way to the point where you're at flower and you're able to package it after testing and get it into a dispensary for sale. You have a long time to go from the beginning to the point where you're actually making money. And if you don't have enough capital reserve considered in your business plan, you're telling the state up front, I'm not set up to succeed. I'm going to fail 3 months in and fire sale my whole project. And that is exactly the opposite of what they're going to be interested in seeing.
And to elaborate that, with anything you put in this plan, you should be able to adequately defend. So whether if you're questioned on it from investors, from a regulatory agency, you have to be able to have that research, that knowledge to defend whatever you're projecting or putting out there. And that's something that I feel that a lot of people, at least I've seen, really haven't thought about. Maybe they're way too realistic with their numbers. So maybe you have a best case scenario, worst case scenario to show that you can survive. And that's really, really important because as these companies get larger and the capital involvement gets bigger, people want to know that you've thought every detail out, and you haven't. That could be the difference between you getting funding or not. And that we'll actually talk about a little bit next week on our next show,
Sure.
Which is next Wednesday, is actually how to raise that money, that capital for your business so that you can ensure that you can enter the market.
Absolutely. It just dovetails perfectly from talking about business planning because it's a necessary component. So you start with an outline of your thoughts. You work your way into filling in that outline of the details. You work with professionals so that you can be sure that you're actually bringing in things you hadn't thought of before. You mentioned marketing. It's a great example. We talked to a lot of growing centers and people interested that are, people that are looking for a growing license. And as we talk to them, what they think is, all right, I'm going to grow the plant and we're going to make money. They don't realize that they have to find dispensaries that are going to purchase their product in order to sell on their shelves. And that's going to take a marketing team to actually go throughout the state of Michigan in order to find enough vendors to purchase your product. You can grow 1,500 plants. You need somebody to buy them in order to become profitable. And so at that point in time, that's another key component that I think, again, people are a little short-sighted when they come in to see us as to, oh, this is going to be easy, it's going to be quick, I can just, grow a plant, make money. It's not that simple and easy at all. And proper business planning through this process will actually answer a lot of questions and help you get focused so that you can get to the finish line.
So even if you're watching this right now and you're a little bit nervous, saying, whoa, I don't know what's going on. We're having a seminar June 9th.
Yes.
Come out. Cobo Hall. Tickets are for sale right now. There's also VIP tickets before that are available right now as well, where you can go beforehand to Tigers game the day before, meet with us. I want you to know that at the seminar, we're going to go into complete depth as to what you need to have a successful business plan. We're actually going to be giving you a sample business plan that you can model yours off. So even if today seemed a little rocky because, oh man, it seems like a lot, I don't know exactly what I'm doing, we're going to explain the whole process and ensure that by the time you're done with that seminar, you're going to have the basic understanding to basically complete a successful business plan.
Yeah, it's a great investment in yourself and your business to come in and learn more of the details. We got a great lineup of speakers. It's going to be a fantastic event, June 9th at Cobo Hall. You can find it on our website at cannabislegalgroup.com. follow us on Facebook at Cannabis Legal Group, and we'll look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. In the meantime, if you have questions, comments, other thoughts or whatnot, feel free to post it on our video here. Like us, share us, and we'll see you soon.
From Marijuana Matt
and Cannabis Craig.
You guys have a great day.
Thank you.